All right, so today we're going deep, really deep, into the world of Argentine energy.
And trust me, it's a lot more gripping than just flipping a light switch.
Yeah, no kidding. We've been digging through this mountain of research, and let me tell you, it reads like a who's who of power players, shadowy deals, and enough intrigue to rival a telenovela.
It's true. Argentina's energy sector, it's not just about keeping the lights on, it's about understanding who truly holds the reins of power in the country.
Okay, so let's break it down. Most people, when they think Argentine energy, they think Vaca Muerta, right? That massive shale oil discovery.
Right, but that's just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Exactly. This deep dive, it's about exposing the full picture, the surprising diversity of their energy sources. We're talking everything from those massive hydroelectric dams in Patagonia to biofuels, even a touch of nuclear power.
It's a real mix, which, as you can imagine, makes for a very interesting landscape, with plenty of opportunity for, shall we say, creative maneuvering.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where the who's who comes in. This report doesn't shy away from naming names. We're talking families and companies that have their fingerprints all over Argentina's energy sector, some going back generations.
Dynasties, really. Families like the Perez Compancs, they've been around since the 1940s, building their empire right alongside Argentina's own economic journey.
It's amazing you start tracing their history, and it's like a crash course in Argentine business and politics.
And it shows how deeply entrenched they are, how their interests are woven into the very fabric of the country's energy infrastructure.
We're talking about a level of influence most people wouldn't believe.
Because it's not just about owning oil fields or power plants, it's about controlling the entire system, from production to distribution.
It's like they're playing a real-life game of Monopoly, buying up all the properties and then dictating the rules.
And they're not the only players in this game. You've also got the Roca family with Techint. They saw the potential of pipelines early on, but not just building them, owning them.
So they control the flow, literally.
Precisely. And that gives them enormous leverage. They become the gatekeepers, deciding who gets what and at what price.
It all seems a little, well, too cozy for comfort, wouldn't you say? And this report, it suggests that this coziness extends to the regulatory bodies that are supposed to be overseeing the energy sector.
That's the real kicker. It's one thing to have powerful players in any industry, but when those players have the regulators in their back pocket,
that's when you've got a real problem.
because then it's not a level playing field anymore. The rules get bent, favors get called in, and everyday Argentinians end up paying the price. And here's the thing. It's not just these old money families calling the shots anymore.
Oh. So who else is trying to get a piece of the Argentine energy pie?
Well, the report highlights these new players, guys like Mindlin and Rogio, who've made their fortunes in other sectors.
So they're bringing their A game from other industries into energy, huh? Bold move.
It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Take Mindlin, for example, his company Pampa Energia. They've got their fingers in everything.
Everything. Like, what? Give me the rundown.
We're talking oil, gas, traditional power plants, even dabbling in renewables. He's not afraid to diversify, to seize an opportunity when he sees it.
Sounds like a real mover and shaker. And what about Rogio? What's his play?
Rogio, he's all about securing those big government contracts. You know the ones I mean.
The ones that raise a few eyebrows, right?
Exactly. His company, AES, has a significant chunk of Argentina's power generation, mostly those essential thermal power plants. But let's just say his close ties to the regulatory bodies have raised some concerns.
Of course, it's all starting to sound a little familiar, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yes. Whether it's the old guard or the new kids on the block, the playbook often looks the same.
So it begs the question, is this just an Argentina thing, or is this how the energy game is played everywhere?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's something this report really makes you think about.
Because we're not just talking about some small-time local operation here.
Yeah.
Argentina's energy sector, it's attracting attention from some of the biggest players in the world.
Exactly. We're talking about multinational giants like BP and Chevron making strategic moves, pouring resources into the country.
So it's like Argentina's energy sector is becoming this global chessboard with everyone vying for a position.
That's a great way to put it. And the stakes are incredibly high. Control over energy resources, it's about more than just profits. It's about geopolitical power.
Okay, so walk me through this. How does this global power struggle actually play out in Argentina? Give me an example.
Take BP, for instance.
Yeah.
They have had a presence in Argentina for decades, but their recent interest in Vaca Muerta, that massive shale formation, it's a clear signal.
They smell opportunity, right?
Oh, absolutely. But it's not just about the oil itself. It's about securing a strategic foothold in a region that's becoming increasingly important in the global energy landscape.
So Argentina's energy reserves, they're a pawn in a much bigger game.
Precisely. And where you have one global power, others are sure to follow. China, for instance, they've been strategically investing in infrastructure projects around the world, and Argentina is no exception.
What have they got their eyes on?
They've been pouring money into Argentina's electricity transmission company,
Transitor. Why does that name ring a bell?
because they control the power lines, the flow of electricity throughout the entire country.
Ah, okay. Now it's coming back to me. So China's thinking long term, controlling the grid, not just the power plants themselves.
Exactly. They're playing a different game, a game of infrastructure and influence.
It's all a bit overwhelming, to be honest. It's easy to feel powerless when you see these massive forces at play.
I hear you. But remember, even amidst these powerful interests, there are other players, other voices that deserve to be heard.
It's kind of unsettling when you really think about it. All this intrigue and maneuvering just to keep our lights on.
It makes you appreciate that cup of coffee in the morning a little more, doesn't it? Knowing what went on behind the scenes to make it happen.
Seriously. But hey, at least we're more informed now, right?
Knowledge is power, as they say. Even if it's a little unnerving, at least we're not in the dark anymore, so to speak.
Okay, I like that. But this all sounds very, I know, big picture. What about us regular folks? What can we actually do with this knowledge? It's not like we can just waltz into a boardroom and shake things up.
You'd be surprised. You see, the thing is, what we've uncovered about Argentina's energy sector, these aren't isolated incidents. The same patterns, the influence peddling, the concentration of power, it's happening everywhere.
You're saying this isn't just an Argentina problem, it's a global energy problem.
Exactly. It's about understanding that the fight for affordable, sustainable energy, it's not just about technology or policy. It's about challenging these entrenched systems. And that starts with awareness, with people like you and me asking the tough questions.
Okay, I'm listening. So where do we even begin?
Start by looking a little closer to home. Who provides your energy? Where does it come from? What are their practices?
Do your research, people.
Exactly, and don't underestimate the power of your voice, your choices. Support companies that align with your values. Hold your elected officials accountable for their decisions, because at the end of the day, we're all stakeholders in this energy game.
Boom. I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Argentina's energy sector, it's clear that what seemed like a simple story about oil and gas is actually a complex web of power, influence, and global interests.
We've met the players, both the old guard and the newcomers, and we've seen how their actions have real consequences, not just for Argentina, but for the future of energy on a global scale.
We've learned about the power of family dynasties, the influence of multinational corporations, and the crucial role that everyday people like us can play in shaping a more sustainable and equitable energy future.
It's a story that's still being written, and we hope this deep dive has inspired you to become an active participant in that story.
Absolutely. So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged. Until next time, keep asking the tough questions, and we'll keep bringing you the deep dives.